Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going over how to make the ugliest pro clubs character in EAFC 25 pro clubs. Just look at this absolute beauty. Alright, so what you want to do is come over to head here. Once you're in the head, you want to click Y. Once you're in Y, you've got these standard options. So every single option to the left. I'm going to run through this as quick as I possibly can, so if you need to pause the video. So everything here, narrow, down, neutral, round, shift left, everything to the left. Once you do that, over the upper forehead, and it's the same again. Everything's just far left as you possibly go. Once you do that, over to the eyebrows, everything is far right, narrow, so you want to do widen, up, forward, and angular. Onto the eye sockets, everything's to the left again, so it's narrow, down, back. Once we do that, over to the ears. The first one now is as far right as you can possibly go. And then the next four down is all to the left. So down, back, larger, shift left. Everything there just to the left. Cheeks, everything again to the far right. So we want to go wide, up, forward, and angular. Nose, you want to go narrow. Then the next two, you want to go up and forward. Then following two, as far left as possibly go again, which is round and shift left. Over to the mouth. First one, we want to go as far left as we possibly can. Second one, we want to go as far right, so up. Third one, as far left as we possibly go again. This one, we want to kind of try and get it in the middle, so just as best as you can, just get it where it is right now. And the same with the shift left, you want to kind of get that kind of middle, but more to the left. So once you do that, we'll go over to the jaw. Everything again simple to the right, as far as you can go, widen, as far up, as far forward, and as far angular. And upper teeth. You don't really see the teeth much in pro clubs, so it doesn't really matter if you do this, but as far right as you can possibly go, and as far left as you can possibly go. Lower teeth, it's the same again. Far right as you can possibly go, far left as you can possibly go. Chin. Left, 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 right, right, as you see here. So you want to go narrow, you want to go down, you want to go back, you want to be angular, and you want to shift right. Once we do that, we're back to skull. So now, once we get to this point, what you want to do is click Y or triangle if you're on the PS5 controller. So once we do that, we have a lot more options to go through here. So as you see now, we only have the skull in general, we have the upper forehead, but once we get in and click Y, we have all these options again. So you should already have this option done. Once you do this, you want to go to the skull crown. Okay, once you're over the skull crown, everything left, everything left, everything left, and then the next one is far right as you can possibly go. Once we get the skull crown done, we're over to the skull back. First one, we're going to go as far left as we possibly can. The second one, we want to be as far right as we can possibly can. Third one, again, far left. The next two, far right and far right. So this is what your skull back should look like. Once we do that, we go over to the temples, and very straightforward. Each four option is going to be as far left as you can possibly go. So left, down, back, and round. Once we do that, we're back to the skull. So now, as you see, there's a subhead above the skull, which is skeletal. Once we go to the right, we can see the flesh. So we want to be as far left as possible, which is less. After that, we don't need to worry about the fat, and we're back to the skeletal. So once we do that, we have done the head. So now we're onto the forehead. So like you see again, we have forehead, skeletal, upper forehead. So we're starting with the upper forehead. Straightforward, everything left again. Narrow, back, neutral, round, shift left. Everything's going to be left. Next, we're going to go to the lower forehead. Left, 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 and left. So narrow, down, back, round. Once we do that, we're over to the, that's it done. Over to the flesh, don't need to worry about it. Fat, you want to get this exactly where this is right here. So up, just leave a bit. And then as far left as possible. That's the forehead, that's the fat. And then obviously back to the skeletal. So now we're moving on to the brows. So we want to be as wide as possible. We want to be as up as possible. We want to be as forward as possible and as far angular as possible. So everything is as right as you can go. Eyebrow center, left, 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 left. It's very straightforward again. You want to be narrow, you want to be down, you want to be back, you want to be round, and you want to shift left. So everything to the left. Eyebrows outside top. Here, I'll give you a bit more time to do this as they're more precise. So you want to get this more to the left. With this one, you want to get it as right as possible and then just leave a little gap. And it's the same again with this one, just a bigger gap. And then for the last one, you want to be as angular as possible, so as far right as possible. Now, eyebrows. Did we do this already? If we didn't, it's far right. Now, we've done the skeletal, we're over to the flesh. Flesh, very simple. Everything as far up as possible. Again, eyebrow gap, everything as far left as possible. And eyebrow center, obviously, we've got them both done. Okay, so now we're over to back. We're finished the skeletal, we're over to the eyes. So eyes, skeletal, eyes, everything as far left as possible. Left, 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 left. Once we do that, we're going to go to eye sockets. Eye sockets want to be as narrow as possible, as down as possible, and as back as possible. So everything to the left. That's that done. Over to this flesh now. We've got everything to the right, everything to the right, everything to the right, everything to the right. So widen, up, forward, smaller. Once we do that, we're over to the eyelid fold outer. Everything to the right again. So up and smaller. Once we do that, we're into the eyelid fold inner. Everything to the left, so as narrow as possible and as down as possible. And that's us finished with this one. Over to the fat, eyelid upper fat, everything is up as possible, everything is more as possible. So everything is far right as you can go. Eyelid lower, you want to get as far right as possible and just come back one option. Unless you want to go over, so you want to be there and you want to come back 1, 2, 3. So there's that. Under eye lower, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you want to go as far right as possible and back 3. And for less, you want to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to go as far left as possible and come back on yourself 5 times. So that's us done with this one. Next, we go over to the ears. Ears, skeletal. Ears as wide as possible. So as far right as possible. And the next 4, you want to be down, back, larger, shift left. So that's as far left as possible, as far left as possible, as far left as possible, as far left as possible. Once we do that, that's it done. Now we go to the flesh. Ear outside top, you want to be as far right as possible. Next one, you want to be as far right as possible again. And the following one, you want to be as far left as possible. So you want to be wide, you want to be up, and you want to be back. Ear outside middle, you want to be as far right as possible, you want to be as far right as possible, and far right as possible again. So that's as wide as possible, as up as possible, and as forward as possible. And then you want to do the ear outside bottom, which is far right, far right, far right. So as wide as you can go, as up as you can go, and as forward as you can go again. Yeah, there's a lot in here. So now we're going to the top. Everything's right. Everything's right, everything's right. So as wide as possible, as up as possible, as forward as possible. Next, ear inside bottom. Did we already do that? I don't know. So as far as possible, as far as possible, as far as possible. Very straightforward. On to the next one, earlobe. You want to be as wide as possible, you want to be up as possible, and forward as possible. Ear tragus, wide, up, forward. So as far right as you can go in this option as well. Sorry, I'm going a bit fast, but pause it if you need to. And we're back to the start. So we go to fat, ear outside top, as far right as possible. Ear outside bottom, as far right as possible. And we're done with the ears. So now we're over to the nose. The nose here gets a bit more tricky, as you can see. It's from this side and from this side. So nose, skeletal nose. You want to be as far left as possible, so as narrow as possible. The next 2, you want to be as far right as possible, so that's up as much as you can and as forward as you can. And then the following 2, as left as possible and as left as possible. So you want to be as round as possible and shift left. Next, we are on to the nose bridge. Very straightforward again. Everything to the right, as wide as possible, as up as possible, as forward as possible, and as angular as possible. So that's everything to the right. Nose bridge center. So you want to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to go all the way left and come back on yourself 4 times. The next three, you're as far left as possible, very straightforward. So down, back, round, and we are, I believe, bang in the middle to the right. So yeah, you'll be, if you're around that area, you're okay. Next, we're onto the nose bridge upper. First two, as far left as possible, very straightforward. Now as narrow as possible and as down as possible. The next two, just bang in the middle, I believe. So as long as you're around that area, you're fine. And shift left, you want to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to go as far right as possible and come back on yourself 5 times. That's the skeletal done. So now we're onto the flesh. Nostril upper. As far right, as far right, as far right. So as wide as possible, as up as possible, and forward as possible. Very straightforward again. Nostril upper. What was that? Yeah, upper outer. So it's same again. Far right, wide, up, forward. It's very straightforward. And center again. Wide, up, forward. Lower, wide, up, forward, angular. Very straightforward. And this one is the same again. So in the flesh, all you're looking to do is go as far right as possible. And once you do that, nostril outside center, same again. Everything as far right as possible as you can do. Now we're onto the nose tip upper. This is a bit more complicated, so I'll count it down for you. So you want to go as far left, so you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to go as far left as possible and come back on yourself 5 times. This one you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as far left as possible and come back on yourself 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The back left as far as possible, come back on yourself 5 times. Just the 1 time for the round and 2 for the shift left. Nose tip under. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. As far right as possible and come back on yourself 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to go as far left as possible and come back 5 times. This one's just the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to go as far right as possible and come back on yourself 5 times, and just a simple 1, 2 here for the very bottom option. Nose tip lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to go as far left as possible and come back on yourself 5 times. This one you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As far right as possible and come back yourself 6 times. This one's very straightforward, as far left as you can possibly go. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As far right as possible, come back yourself 7 times. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bottom one, as far left as you can possibly go and come back yourself 4 times. I believe we've already done these. Yes, we have. So onto the fat, nose fat. 1, 2, 1, 2. Come back, go as far right as possible and come back 2 times. Now we've done the nose, we're onto the cheeks. So cheeks, very straightforward. Everything as far right as you can go. So as wide, as up, as forward, as angular as you can go. Now we'll go on to, this is the only skeletal we can do. So we're onto the flesh. Flesh, you want to be as far right as possible and as far right as possible. So it's up as much as you can go and more. Now we're onto the upper outside cheeks. That's the same again, very straightforward. Everything to the right, as more as you can possibly go. Upper inside eyes, far right and far right. So as up as you can go and as more as you can go. Upper inside cheeks, as far right as you can go again. Lower outside cheeks, as less. So again, as much right as you can possibly go, you'll get there. Lower inside cheeks, as far right as you can go again. And we're back to the start. Fat, as far right and as far right as you can go. So as up as you can go and as more as you can go. Next, we're onto the lower cheeks, as up as you can go and as more as you can go again. Jowl or jewel, whatever it is, as up as you can go and as more as you can go again. So everything to the right again. We are back to the, no, we're not. We are not back. Cheeks inside upper, as far right as you can go and as far right as you can go. Cheeks inside lower, as far right as you can go and as far right as you can go. Temples, same again, as far right as you can go and as far right as you can go. That's us done for the fat and skeletal. So we're over to the mouth. We're nearly there, nearly there. You should have some sort of resemblance to this absolute creature at this point. So mouth, skeletal, mouth. As far left as you can go, so as narrow as you can go. The next one, you want to go as far right as you can possibly go, which is up. Next one is far left as you can possibly go, which is back. The following one, you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's as far right as possible and come back on yourself 6 times. This one, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe this is bang in the middle, so you shouldn't have to touch this, but if you want to make sure, go as far left as possible, come back on yourself 7 times. Mouth outside top, far right, far right, far right, far right. And that's us done for this one. Flesh, same again, far right. I'm going to skip through this as fast as possible now. Wide, up, forward, angular, perfect. Lip gap, center, same again. Far right, far right, far right, far right. As wide as you can go, as up as you can go, as forward as you can go, and as angular as you can go. Lip gap sides, same again. Far right, far right, far right, far right. Wide, up, forward, angular. So just get everything to the right. And let's see. What do we need here? Yeah, so there's a lot of options here. As you can see, everything in this is as far right as you can go. So once you do that there, you can pause it right now. Make sure everything that you see here is to the far right. As you can see, I'm skipping through everything multiple times, and you can see that it is as far right as possible. Now we're into the fat. So mouth sides, you want to be up as possible, and you want to be as more as possible. So everything to the right, everything to the right. Upper lip, up more. So yeah, both of these, everything to the right. Lower lip, you want to be everything to the right again, up and as more as possible. That's just done for the fat. We're back to the skeletal. So now we're on to the teeth. Teeth, again, you don't really need to worry about it, but if you do want to do it, I'll go through it quickly. As wide as possible, so as far right as possible, and down as possible, so far left as possible. Lower teeth, wide as possible, down as possible. Again, canines, you want to be down, neutral, shift right. So left, left, as far right as you can go. Canine tips, far left as you can go, and as far right as you can go. Cuspids, whatever it is, as far left, and bang in the center again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 over if you go as far left as possible and come back 7 just to make sure you have it. Cuspid tips, as far left as possible again. Either you want to go bang middle, bang middle, bang middle. Don't bother touching it because you can't see it with the shape of his mouth. And again, middle, far left. You don't need to touch that because again, his mouth is mangled, so you cannot see it. So everything here you don't need to touch. Chin. That's very important. As you can see, he's got a very chiseled chin. So you want to go narrow, you want to go down, you want to go back, you want to go angular, and you want to shift right. So left, 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 right, right. Upper chin, you want to go left, you want to go as far right as possible, you want to come back left, and you want to go right and then right. So as narrow as possible, as up as possible, as back as possible, as angular as possible, and a shift right as much as you can go. So yeah, that's that done. Now we're on to the flesh. Everything to the left, everything to the left again. So as down as possible and shift left as much as you can. Chin sides, as far right as you can go. So as less as you can go. Chin cleft, we've already done that. So we're on to the fat, the chin fat. Chin down, less, as far left as possible and as far left as possible. Under chin, as far left as possible and as far right as possible. So down and more. That's that done. Now we're on to the jaw, we're nearly there. So jaw, skeletal jaw, you're going to be as far right as possible, as far right as possible, as far right as possible, and as far right as possible. So you want to be wide, you want to be up, you want to be forward, and you want to be angular. Inside jaw top, again, you want to be wide, you want to be up, you want to be forward, you want to be angular. So as far right as you can possibly go for all 4 options. Jaw inside bottom, as far right, as far right, as far right, as far right as you can go. So as wide as you can go, as up as you can go, as forward as you can go, and as angular as you can go. Once we do that skeletal, we are over to the flesh. So flesh, very straightforward, as far right as you can go again. Fat, you want to be as far right as you can go, as far right as you can go. So up and more. We've done that. And now you should finally have this beautiful creature. And you'll be very, very happy with it. So guys, if you did enjoy the video, please drop a like and subscribe. It is really appreciated.